This episode of Happier with Gretchen Rubin is brought to you by Alloy Women's Health. Menopause is inevitable, but it's also treatable. Alloy can help you to live your best, healthiest life through menopause and beyond, offering unlimited access to experts and safe, science-backed treatments for your symptoms. Alloy solutions are available by prescription, so you'll need to complete a short medical questionnaire and patient verification. You'll work with a menopause-trained physician to finalize a personalized treatment plan tailored to your specific needs, and once approved, Alloy ships your prescription directly to your door with automatic refills.
I love the convenience and availability of Alloy. I made a doctor's appointment the other day, and I couldn't get in till October, Gretchen. You do not have that problem with Alloy.
Yeah.
Join the 95% of women who tried Alloy and saw relief in the first 2 weeks. Head to myalloy.com/happier and tell them all about your symptoms, and you'll get a fully customized treatment plan. And you'll get $20 off your first order today. Head to myalloy.com/happier and enter code HAPPIER to get $20 off your first order.
Listen, Whole Foods Market is a great place to get everything that we need for a fantastic summer barbecue. They have the chicken thighs, the ground beef. We love to have salmon burgers, uncured hot dogs. Plus, there's all the other things that you love for summer barbecue, the ice cream, the tortilla chips, the salsas, salad kits. You can get it all at Whole Foods Market.
And look for hundreds of yellow low price signs that help you save without compromising the quality you expect from Whole Foods Market. There are so many ways to save on summer grilling favorites at Whole Foods Market.
Lemonada.
Hello and welcome to Happier, a podcast where we talk about ideas and strategies for building more happiness into our everyday lives. This week is a very special episode. It's episode 540, and every 10th episode is a very special episode. And this is an episode about whimsy, more whimsy for all. I'm Gretchen Rubin, a writer who studies happiness, good habits, secrets of adulthood, the five senses, human nature. I'm in my little home office in New York City, and joining me today from Los Angeles is my sister, Elizabeth Kraft. And Elizabeth, you are often a source of whimsy for me.
That's me, Elizabeth Kraft, a TV writer and producer living in LA. And Gretchen, this is one of our favorite topics. I actually feel like I have trouble being whimsical, so I need help.
No, it's good to get ideas for sure. And so we are so excited to share so many suggestions from listeners. But before we jump in, we got an interesting email from a listener.
Yes, Cheryl said, Gretchen and Liz, the two of you made the two of us happier. Last summer, I listened from Kentucky as you shared about your upcoming hiking adventure with Wilderness England. I immediately Googled them and continued to follow your preparation, the voice memo diary during the week, the follow-up reflections, and the interview with your guide. I knew that was the gift I wanted to give myself when I retired from teaching. At the time, I did not know for sure when my retirement date would be. In Barcelona, Spain, another woman, Mireia, was also listening along. She knew a Wilderness England adventure was just the gift to share with her husband. Shortened story, I decided to retire November 1. Soon after making the decision, I booked my spot on the Northumberland Lake District Tour for May 2025 because I knew I wouldn't be teaching school. I flew into Edinburgh, Scotland, and stayed for a couple of days before training to Penrith. When we got into the van, our guide asked how we heard about Wilderness England. Mireia, who was sitting beside me, said, I heard about it on a podcast, Happier with Gretchen Rubin. What a fun snippet of serendipity. We wanted to share a photo of the two of us on the trail, brought together in England from opposite sides of the Atlantic because of Happier. This was a life marker experience.
Well, this was so much fun. It was so fun to see their photo, which Cheryl included. I love the fact that they went on a great trip and made friends the way we had such a great time on that trip.
Yes, the same one we did. And so I recognized the scenery looked very familiar in the picture. And it made me wish we were back there again, Gretchen. It was just such a great experience.
I remember the Penrith train station extremely well.
Yeah, same.
Happy memories. Well, now for some whimsy. And the first question is, okay, what do we mean by adding whimsy to everyday life? So when we add whimsy, that's when we use a little bit of imagination to add some surprise, something humorous, something just unexpected in everyday life. You could give an event on your calendar a goofy name, or you could do something silly to decorate your desk. It's just adding that little elevated note to just the everyday routine.
Yes. On Happier in Hollywood, Gretch, Sarah and I have been talking about things like if you have to buy them anyway, what can you buy that's whimsical, like paper clips shaped like dogs, for instance?
Right. Because you need paper clips, but you might as well reach for a little bit of whimsy. Oh, I just saw something on that note. So our mother loves cherries. That's kind of an auspicious symbol for her, as cherries. And my friend knows that our mother's auspicious symbol is cherries. And so she ripped a page out of a magazine to show to me that was all cherry related things, like an apron decorated with cherries. And it was the cutest thing. It was a measuring spoon. You know how you buy like a ring and it has 5 measuring spoons off of it?
Yeah.
So it looked like 5 cherries hanging off of a green stem with a leaf. And I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I'll get that for mom, just because that's one of her symbols is the cherries.
Yes.
And it's handy to have measuring spoons. And that would be a little whimsical note
I
to
love
elevate it, make it a little bit more personal.
So, Gretch, why do we reach for whimsy?
Well, you know, the thing about whimsy is by adding it, we add this note that makes everyday life a little easier. Maybe it makes something routine a little bit more fun, like using the dog paper clip. Maybe it makes us feel like our quirks and our loves and our preferences are out in the world around us, like if our mom was using cherry-shaped measuring spoons, or like if I got you something with a corgi on it. It's just like a little whimsical touch. I think using whimsy can make it easier to what otherwise might be considered to be like nagging or reminding. It's that idea that a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. It makes fun things more fun and unpleasant things more fun. And it's funny, whimsy seems to be having a moment. It just is popping up everywhere in online conversations, in design trends. I wrote an article on my site about whimsy. It's, if anybody wants to look at it, it's at happiercast.com/whywhimsy, and I'll post a link to it in the show notes, because it really does add something. I remember I saw these household rules that somebody had, and it said in giant capital letters, heinous infractions, right? Like this very extreme language. And then below it was just perfectly ordinary chores, like hang up your coat. But then at the bottom, it was like, penalty is death or cash equivalent. You know, it was just, the whole thing was so funny and so over the top melodramatic. That family was able to make its point and post its list of tasks and chores in a way that was a very light touch.
Yeah, Gretchen, you know, I recently on Substack wrote about whimsy because it's been so much in our conversation lately. And I have to mention the Happier in Hollywood Substack. Please subscribe. It's free. Just go to happierinhollywood.com and scroll down and enter your email.
And mine too, Secrets of Adulthood.
Yes.
We're both on Substack now. Yes.
Oh, yes. Now I have to be plugging yours as well.
Yeah, Substack.
I wrote about the shuttlecocks at the Nelson Atkins
yes.
Museum in Kansas City because they are the ultimate whimsy. They're 4 giant 19-foot tall shuttlecocks that are supposed to look like giants have been playing a game of badminton using the museum's building as a net, and that the shuttlecocks just, you know, fell wherever after the giants were done playing. And that is exactly what they look like. And they are so fun and whimsical and always make me smile.
Well, now they've really become one of the symbols of Kansas City. They're just so fun. And they're very different from the main body of the museum is like columns and transcendent timeless forms, very classical. And so the shuttlecocks are just this like very whimsical in contrast. Also in your Substack, you reminded me of a little bit of whimsy that I love, but I had forgotten about, which was Garbage Eve, the family that celebrates Garbage Eve as basically it's a way to remember that the next day was Garbage Day, but calling it Garbage Eve. Let's go celebrate Garbage Eve. It's this way of elevating the kind of ordinary tasks and routines.
Yes, that cracked me up. The idea that bringing in or taking out the garbage pans is the way to celebrate Garbage Eve.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So what are some other touches of whimsy, Elizabeth, that you've incorporated?
Gretchen, you mentioned corgis. I mean, we have corgi whimsy all over our house. We have, even on our fridge, Adam put up this big sticker that looks like a corgi breaking out of the fridge.
It is trompe-l'oeil, and it looks like there is a hole in the fridge. Yeah. I've seen it many times, and every time I look at it, I'm like, wait, what's going on? And then it is very funny.
Yeah, that's the most dramatic one. But then, we have corgi mats and corgi mugs, and my friend gave me a corgi mom mug that I love. So we've got a lot of that going on. Then I've also got my chip-shaped chip bag clips that Mom gave me. So they're potato chip bag clips actually shaped like potato chips.
Oh, I haven't seen those. That's so fun.
Yeah,
I love those clips to close bags of food. Yes, those are very handy.
How about you?
I like hidden places, kind of like things that you might not notice, but that have secret meanings. So for instance, in our living room, we have these bookshelves, and at the top are painted Roman numerals. And it's as if we were some like gigantic library, and each bookcase was numbered with Roman numerals. But in fact, each number represents a birth year of some member of the family. So that's just like a cool little thing that we know. I have a thing that if you look at it, it looks like a bookcase, but actually it swings open and behind it is a cabinet. So it's a fake door. We have like a little frog painted behind our kitchen door, which now it's funny. Now it's above where the dog's water bowls are. So it's funny that there's a little frog there. I can't remember if I wrote about it in the Happiness Project or Happier at Home, but celebrating minor holiday breakfasts is a way to bring in whimsy, because it's like dye the milk green or make something pink. That's a way to have whimsy. Oh, and then I have the boxes. This I wrote about in Happier at Home. I have those miniature boxes. Like I have the one that's the magical garden. So there's a shelf on my bookshelf that actually looks like a miniature magical garden. Or I have one that's Mermaid Lagoon and one that's mountaintop that's hidden inside a cabinet. Oh, and we have a fake fireplace, and in the mantle is painted to look like marble, but it includes all of our initials. So that's one way I like to have whimsy, is hidden things that you have to know to look for.
Yeah, I think that's fun. Along those same lines, like I think it's fun in a powder room. If you have a powder room, a lot of people like to do whimsical wallpaper.
Oh, yes.
That feels like a spot where, you can really go crazy with your wallpaper and
because it's
bring
so
in
small.
Some whimsy. Yes.
Well, whatever happened to that mischievous monkeys wallpaper that Adam loved so much?
We have the wallpaper, but we have yet to put it up.
Oh, okay.
So we've got the whimsy at hand, but we have not yet put it up.
I think I see something on the 26 for 26 list.
Yes, that's a very good idea. All right, Gretch, coming up, we're going to dive into listeners' ideas of whimsy, which are so wonderful. But first, this break.
Whenever I host, I have no idea what kind of wine to get. And I am hosting my book club coming up. And I am so happy that now I have Naked Wines to help me make this decision, so I do not need to face the giant wall of wine and have no idea what to get. Naked Wines is a service that directly connects you to the world's finest independent winemakers, so you get award-winning wine delivered straight to your door. You can use our code HAPPIER for the code and password at nakedwines.com and get their incredible deal of 6 bottles for just $39.99. And they make the decision, so you get a great wine delivered right to your door.
Now is the time to join the Naked Wines community. Head to nakedwines.com/happier, click enter voucher, and put in our code HAPPIER for both the code and password for 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99 with shipping included. That's $100 off your first 6 bottles at nakedwines.com/happier and use the code and password HAPPIER for 6 bottles of wine for $39.99.
Hey, Julia Louis-Dreyfus here. If you listen to me on my Wiser Than Me podcast, you probably already know that I'm an investor and an evangelist for the Mill Food Recycler. There are a lot of reasons to love Mill, but for me, it's all about the impact. Keeping food out of the garbage is one of the most powerful things we can do to help the planet every single day. We're talking banana peels, carrot tops, old takeout. When that stuff heads to the landfill, it becomes a huge driver of climate change. If you already compost, great. But of course, there's the smell, the flies, the running to the curb every day with a little leaking compost bag made of cornstarch. That's where Mill comes in. It makes keeping food out of the trash as easy as dropping it in. It can handle nearly anything, from a turkey carcass to like 20 avocado pits. It works automatically while you sleep. You can keep filling it for weeks, and it never ever smells. Mill makes dry, nutrient-rich grounds that you can use in your garden, add to your compost, feed to your chickens, or Mill can get them back to a small farm for you. But you kind of have to live with Mill to really get it, and that's why they offer a risk-free trial. Go to mill.com/wiser for an exclusive offer.
And now we're back for listener suggestions for bringing more whimsy into everyday life. These are all ideas that we can do without spending a lot of time, energy, or money, because people don't have a lot of extra time, energy, or money. But there's a lot of imagination.
Yes, this idea comes from Ava. She said, "You have been a big inspiration to me in bringing whimsy into my parenting, as you seem like a very serious, well-studied person like me, but you also seem to really embrace the fun in everyday life. My small example of everyday whimsy is that we recently moved into a new house with a kitchen island with built-in wine racks. My wife and I aren't big wine drinkers, plus we have a toddler, so leaving easily accessible glass bottles around isn't the best idea. Therefore, we weren't using these racks for anything. They're a bit too small for useful storage. However, they are perfect toddler viewing height, so I decided to turn them into little Playmobil scenes for our wee boy and his friends to discover when they come round to visit." She says, "I've attached a recent example, but I'd like to get more creative with these when I have some spare time. Keeping in mind, they often get destroyed by the end of the day." And then it's a great little Playmobil set of a painter and his canvas.
Yeah, and it looks like there's fairy lights in the back, giving it a sparkly look.
Yes.
I love that, little hidden scenes like that. I can imagine how enchanted I would have been as a child if every time I walked over to the shelf, there was some little scene there. Love that.
It's like the people who get so creative with their elf on a shelf.
Yes, right, exactly. Shelley writes, "My kids are outgrowing their stuffed animals, so I've started giving them away. But there are a few that I have been unable to part with, either because they are adorable or they remind me of a particular memory with my kids. I've started putting these on an empty shelf in my laundry room. Now, every time I do laundry, I see my shelf of cute stuffed animals and feel a little lighter and happier." This is great. She realizes she likes these herself, so she's keeping these in a way so she can enjoy them. Love it.
Eliza said, "Wear bright colored underwear, especially if going to a formal/serious event. There's something about wearing neon pink underwear to a job interview that can give you a bit of a boost."
Oh, I like that. That's very fun.
Yes.
Justina writes, "As a rebel, and thank you forever for making me realize that I am one, I use whimsy as part of my identity to positively manipulate myself into doing things I find boring, but have to do in all areas of life. At work, I often do B2B lead generation, but reframe it as matchmaking. And yes, my meeting notes are filled with little scribbly hearts wherever I see alignment between two parties. When I run, I choose a destination to what I call the ugly house. It's a notorious route and landmark in my family now. I collect a little pebble from the road at the end of each run and collect them in a little jar to visualize my progress. All of this is working well on me and the kids. Of course, they prefer anything to be reframed in a silly way rather than a plain chore. But here comes the magical, more surprising twist. It even works on my questioner, engineer type husband. Who knew? Background. We're about to move to another country, and the kids were hoping that with a new house and garden, they might get a dog. I feel meh about that right now, but would love a hamster. The most whimsical pet of all time. Goes back to what made me happy as a 10-year-old. Another one of your wisdoms. Kids were game, husband really wasn't, until I thought of a silly way to get him into the idea. He really, really wanted to be an astronaut when he was little. So I had our 4-year-old propose to him that we could call the hamster Neil Hamstrong. And the week after he video called us from inside a pet store, he was looking at the rodents and thinking of all the cool ways we can engineer its living space with mazes, etc. Manipulation? Maybe, but it's whimsical, so it's okay. I love this.
That is so sweet.
Neil Hamstrong. First of all, is the hamster the most whimsical pet of all time? Everybody weigh in. What is the most whimsical pet? Okay, because you might say, well, kangaroos perhaps are more whimsical, but they are not pets.
Right.
And maybe they are not whimsical. I guess kangaroos are pretty strong and violent, though it's fun to watch them jump around. Is the hamster the most whimsical pet? Let us know. And if you do not know what a rebel is, take the quiz, GretchenRubin.com, and you will find out if you are a rebel or an upholder or a questioner or an obliger, and you will learn all about the 4 tendencies. But I love that this idea from Justina about leaning into what she knows about a rebel. Rebels often do like gamification. They do like things being surprising like this. And of course, love the creativity about the hamster. That is so fun.
Yes. Gretch, I would say a hedgehog is a more whimsical pet. Allowed some places, not allowed others.
Yeah, I don't know that people do keep hedgehogs as pets. Do they? I've never heard of that.
Yes, I knew an editor who had a hedgehog.
Okay. What about the giant Welsh rabbit? Can it hop? Does it hop?
Also whimsical.
I don't know. It may be too big to be whimsical. It's just a very, very large rabbit.
Yeah.
Whimsical to look at, maybe not so whimsical to take care of.
Elise said, I restored my great-grandmother's dollhouse, partly as research for a novel I wrote, and now I keep it next to my desk in my office for daily doses of joy. And that's not all. I've had so much fun learning how to make miniatures that I'm flying from Seattle to Bangor, Maine in early June to attend a week-long school run by the International Guild of Miniaturists to try all kinds of fun new things from mini pottery to micro knitting. I can't wait. I mean, Gretchen, is this the most fun, whimsical, week-long camp that you've heard of?
Well, I love it. And you know what it's also making me think of is from my book, the book that I want to write about the open door phase, Project Empty Nest. One of the things that people always say is, get a hobby. And people are like, well, I don't have a hobby. So one thing to say is, well, what did you do for fun when you were 10 years old? Maybe it was something like dollhouses. And can you go deeper into it? Can you become an expert? Can you become a collector? Or can you get inside of it? So instead of just observing it or playing with it, can you make it yourself? Like instead of reading Substacks, you're writing a Substack. Or instead of just watching movies, you have an online thing where you rate and review movies. And I love this idea of really bringing it into her life in a much deeper way because, the more we put into something, the more we get out of it. And I love this. Very whimsical.
Yes.
Kathy says, a friend and I always seem to catch 11:11 on a clock. We snap a picture and text it to each other. It's a nice way to keep each other connected and in regular contact when life feels busy. And this is funny, right?
Very funny. There's an app where at a certain time every day, it tells you to take a photo of yourself wherever you are, and it automatically posts. And then everybody who's on the app, who you're connected to, sees that photo. It's kind of a fun thing.
Interesting.
September says, I keep special things in my junk drawer like travel mementos mixed in with everything else. Every time I open the drawer to get a pen or tape, I am reminded of a happy memory, and I love the tradition of looking for a junk drawer item on each vacation. After reading The Happiness Project, I also started to collect little Swarovski cows. I collected them for a decade, and seeing them arranged on their little shelf also makes me happy.
Love a junk drawer. Love a tiny memento. Mementos are better when they're small in size and few in number. Love a specialized collection. That is so fun. Bethany says, I sing songs to certain activities when I'm annoyed. Example, doing laundry or, switching clothes and folding. I sing, I love laundry to the beat of, I want candy. When my teens are frustrated about a situation, I sing, it's not about you to the beat of, it had to be you. My family has gotten used to my weird humor, and now they sometimes ad-lib more lyrics. Elizabeth, I love this. Clearly, from my attempt to sing this, I have no sense of how to sing, but you get it. I want candy. It had to be you. Change the words. I think that's a really, really good idea, especially for someone who has singing talent.
And I love that you attempted that, Gretchen. That was very whimsical of you. Yes. Elisa said, I keep bubbles in my car to blow when stopped for road construction. Well, that's funny because I bet people in other cars probably get a kick out of that too.
That's true. That's so fun. Oh, and this reminds me of what somebody else did. Whenever she would go to museums and saw pieces of art that she really loved, she would buy the postcards. And then she would keep a basket by her front door and she would grab a handful. And then for the next week or so, keep them in the visor above her seat in the car. And then if she was stuck in traffic, she would pull a postcard and just look at a beautiful piece of art. Like, how can you transform the experience of being stuck in traffic? Great ideas. Tiffany said, not an everyday thing, but I started this last year on my birthday. I asked the bartender at the restaurant to make me their interpretation of a singing unicorn, and it's so much fun to see what they come up with. You can call your drink whatever you want, of course, but it's a little surprise to look forward to, and you get a custom cocktail. Win-win. And I bet you make the day of the bartender. I mean, how fun for them. They probably all have some drink that they're like, oh, this could be my Manhattan or whatever.
Yes, I'm thinking it's pink, it's purple, maybe it's green. I love the idea of the singing unicorn.
Yeah, listening in the office when Michael Scott, he's like, orange juice and vodka. I came up with this amazing combination. It's like, yes, you have.
Stephanie said, before I put my seasonal clothes in the attic, I hide some money in the pockets. Also, I buy my underpants mostly when I'm on vacation. So when I get dressed, I will be reminded of that special place somewhere. That is so fun.
Who knew that underwear was like a good opportunity for whimsy? I love it. Lynn says, I use fairy lights in places in my home. I'm 70, but my guest bedroom looks like a tween girl lives there. Can't help it. I'm an old hippie. It gives me joy. Can I just say fairy lights and food dye are like the workhorses of whimsy. There is a lot you can do with fairy lights and food dye.
Yes, I'm never not happy to see fairy lights. That's for sure.
For sure.
Janet said, before I leave my house for a holiday, I set up stuffies reading books and having tea. By the time I'm back, I've forgotten I did that, and it just makes me laugh. I love that people do these things.
I know. Hannah said, I added stained glass film to my sunroof so I'd have pretty colors in my car. Elizabeth, I have never heard of this. Did you know about stained glass film?
I didn't, but now that she says it, I can absolutely picture exactly what it is, and it sounds like so much fun.
It sounds so fun.
All right, coming up, we've got more whimsical ideas from listeners, but first, this break. Let's talk about the Defender 110. It is a vehicle built for the modern explorer. Gretch, I have a friend who's extremely adventurous, and she loves her Defender 110. It's a vehicle that looks tough because it is tough. The Defender boasts an exterior design for optimum durability. It has a raised hood and sculpted grille that give the Defender 110 a modern edge.
Yeah, it has 3D surround cameras with clear sight ground view that let you see underneath the vehicle and anticipate obstacles in rough terrain. Clear sight rear view offers an unobstructed rear view even when you can't see through the back window. Driver aid technologies make driving and parking simpler. Intuitive driver displays are customizable to your journey. Design your Defender 110 at LandRoverUSA.com. Visit LandRoverUSA.com to learn more about the Defender 110. Explore the Defender 110 at LandRoverUSA.com.
You know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Getting burned by your old wireless bill. While you're planning beach trips, barbecues, and 3-day weekends, your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network.
This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/Gretchen. That's mintmobile.com/Gretchen. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5-gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
All right, Gretch, we are back with more whimsy. Love all the whimsy. This idea comes from Lottie. She says, I have poetry tea time with my two little boys on Thursdays. I make a treat, serve tea or milk, and we each pick out a poem from our poetry books for me to read aloud.
Oh my gosh, this is like the most cultured, wonderful thing. I'm filled with regret that I did not do this with my girls. How fun is this?
Same. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, how did I not do this? This is such a great idea.
But you could also have fairy tale tea time. I love it.
Yes.
Circle Thinker wrote, I am a hider of tiny ducks, and it brings me so much joy. Seeking the perfect place to put them is excellent. Going back sometime later and finding one is no longer there, excellent. Going back sometime later and finding one is still there, excellent. I mean, this is so fun. We had these holiday crackers at Thanksgiving that had little tiny wooden animals in them that were really nice. And I liked them so much. I scampered around the table and got everybody to give me their little wooden animals. And I put them in a wooden box. I just thought, oh, this is a little bit of whimsy. Like if somebody just opened up kind of a decorative box, there's all these little animals, but maybe I'll hide them all over our lake house. That could be really fun. And you're like, here's a little tiny wooden rabbit. But tiny ducks, I mean, a yellow rubber duck, maybe they are the definition of whimsy. If a hamster is whimsy, tiny duck, that is also whimsy. Like put a tiny duck anywhere. Or googly eyes. Put googly eyes on something, instant whimsy.
Yeah, and I think hiding rubber ducks is a thing many people do.
Oh, is that right?
It's like a global thing, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Arcana said, I listen to old pre-recorded Indian radio channels on YouTube from my childhood days as I have my morning cuppa. The world could be falling apart, but the nostalgia-inducing RJ voices and commercials take me back to a time when life was simpler and everything suddenly feels okay. Gretch, this reminds me of a Facebook feed I get of 80s toys.
Oh, yeah.
And I love looking at the 80s toys because most times I had that toy and it just brings it all rushing back.
Like an easy bake oven or...
Yes, like Merlin is one, which was like this electronic game, or a Barbie head to do hair on.
Yes, yes.
Or a camper that came with little people and, like a table and chairs to set outside the camper. All sorts of things. Holly Hobby, color forms, so many.
Well, so maybe the larger point is maybe there's a way technology can connect you with something that feels cozy and makes you happy from your past. For you, it's like getting this little hit when you see that in your feed. And for Arcana, it's listening to this on YouTube. So that's super fun. Hannah says, my 7-year-old son and I take extra quarters to Aldi to put in the grocery cart so people don't have to find one to get a cart. We try to be sneaky so people are surprised by a free cart. Oh, that's kind of like do a little random act of kindness. That's so fun.
Oh, and Gretchen, speaking of shopping carts, Melody says, when I'm putting my shopping cart away, I always step up on the bar and scoot myself across the parking lot, working up a good speed so I can coast a bit. I've been known to do this inside if an aisle is empty enough.
That is so funny. When I was recording my audiobook, it makes you very restless because you really have to focus to do an audiobook. It's surprising how tiring it is. And I had read some research about the value of skipping. And so I would to take breaks, I would skip up and down the halls. And I have to say, skipping is super whimsical and fun too. Not as whimsical and fun as racing across an empty parking lot and riding a shopping cart, but it feels like the same time of life that you're tapping into.
Yes, I love it.
And then finally, Wendy said, I book all my dentist appointment at 2:30 for my own and hopefully the receptionist's amusement. I love that. It took me a minute to realize why 2:30 was a funny time, but it's 2:30 for a dentist appointment. Again, even if nobody gets it but you would smile every time you went to the dentist.
Yes, I need to start doing some of these, Gretch. I need more whimsy.
Well, when we're on our reader retreat, Elizabeth, maybe when we take breaks for meals, we will plot some whimsy.
I love it.
Let us know if you do try this at home and how adding more whimsy to life works for you and what whimsy did you add. We still want more ideas. There is just something energizing and cheering about adding this little bit of whimsy, and that's why it can play an important role in a happier life. Even if these little gestures feel kind of small, they can pack a big effect. Let us know on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook. Drop us an email at podcast@GretchenRubin.com. Or as always, you can go to the show notes. This is happiercast.com/540 for everything related to this episode.
And Gretch, what's the resource for this week?
Well, today is Read 25 Day. I've been talking about this. Of course, our challenge for 2025 is Read 25 and 25. And today is a special day, June 25th, Read 25 Day. Thousands of readers from all over the country are coming together for silent reading. Throughout the year, as part of our Read 25 and 25 challenge, it has been so much fun to team up with bookshop.org to provide challenges and resources and practical tips and reading suggestions to help all of us cultivate the habit of reading. That makes us all so happy. Now, Read 25 Day is by far our biggest event yet. I am so happy it's here. There are many ways to participate, and it's not too late if you haven't made a plan. There are nearly 200 participating indie bookstores, so you can join other people at an in-store event if you want to go be with other people at a great indie bookstore. But you can do it on your own. You can do it with families and friends. Remember that any kind of reading counts. Reading, audiobooks, whatever you want. For more information and for the list of bookstores, go to happiercast.com/read25day. More reading for all.
Yes. And remember, it doesn't have to be at any particular time.
It has to be a particular time if you want to join other people at the bookstore. Otherwise, you can just schedule it to suit yourself. And that is it for this episode of Happier. Remember to try this at home. Add some whimsy to your life. Let us know if you tried it and if it worked for you.
Thank you to our executive producer, Chuck Reed, and everyone at Lemonada.
Here's your rhyming reminder, and really listen to it. Take it to heart. Please do it. We appreciate it so much. If you love the show, leave a review to let us know.
Until next week, I'm Elizabeth Kraft.
And I'm Gretchen Rubin. Thanks for joining us. Onward and upward.
Gretchen, I was just thinking maybe a fun 26 for 26 list would be like 26 whimsical things.
Yes.
To do or ideas to incorporate. I don't know if I could come up with 26, but
oh, I bet you
this
could.
would help me start.
I bet you could. We'll start keeping a list now, and then by the time 26 comes, it's like my 25 things that please me makes me so happy. It is really great. That's a great idea. Okay.
I'm going to think about that.
All right. Let's add to it. From the Onward Project.